Breaking news. What gives Putin his unprecedented strength? While launching his full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin encountered obstacles. 2 years into the conflict, everything seemed to be going his way, and he is showing no signs of relinquishing control. Retrenchments from Kharkiv and Kherson later in 2022 dealt blows to Putin and bold headlines for Kyiv. Strikes on Russian Black Sea targets, which are still going on, and Ukrainian resistance at the beginning of the war forced Russian soldiers back from Kyiv. Putin, however, has enjoyed a run of good news in recent weeks. Although tensions have arisen due to US-led sanctions designed to cut Russia off from the international banking system, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, doubled its earlier projection for GDP growth in 2024 to 2.6%. Further, the conquest of Avdiivka in the Donetsk Oblast, the death of Russia's most popular opposition politician Alexei Navalny, and Western hesitancy over additional aid for Kyiv have all given Putin confidence as he approaches the March 15 poll. Russian President Vladimir Putin's domestic influence has grown, according to Ralph Carter, a professor of political science at Texas Christian University, who spoke with Newsweek. By characterizing Western sanctions as an attack that he has neutralized, he has galvanized public opinion to support his leadership. Additionally, Putin has silenced his internal opponents by eliminating Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of the Wagner Group, and Alexei Navalny, his most vocal critic. This should serve as a warning to Russians. Anything can happen to you. Prigozhin, a staunch opponent of Putin's actions throughout the war, led his Wagner Group of mercenaries on a march on Moscow after seizing military facilities in Rostov-on-Don. The Kremlin has claimed responsibility, but many believe that his death in the jet accident was punishment for speaking out against Putin's rule. Emerging markets, Trump, and legislation unbreakable tie after sanctions caused Europe to cut back on its energy imports from Russia. Putin is turning away from the West. Moscow has been somewhat successful in expanding its export markets, especially to China and India, where it can sell its expensive goods. Law expert John Hall of Chapman University in California told Newsweek that Putin's stance seems stronger now than it was 6 months ago. The main reason Russia's economic isolation efforts have failed miserably is that India is still eager to buy oil from Russia. Russia has secured pipelines of ammunition from North Korea, Iran, and China, while Ukraine suffers major shortages of both people and weaponry. As a result, the conflict in Ukraine is going better for Russia than it has for months. The impasse in the United States Congress over more funding for Ukraine shows no signs of abating, and Putin has profited from the rhetoric of former President Trump, which some Republicans have taken up in their opposition to providing more military aid to Kyiv. Trump has undermined any ongoing support for Ukraine through his influence, which is a stance that only helps Putin, Hall noted. Unity in NATO Colorado School of Mines history professor and U.S.-Russian relations specialist Ken Osgood stated that Trump has helped Putin by criticizing NATO and even suggesting last month that Russia strike NATO members who do not reach a 2% minimum spending threshold. Every Russian leader since Joseph Stalin has aimed to crack NATO cohesiveness, he told Newsweek. Putin has already achieved a notable victory by elevating the issue of an American departure from NATO to the level of a real political discussion, regardless of whether Trump wins the presidency or not. How do we feel about the future? Newsweek quoted Jennifer Kibbe, a professor of government at Franklin and Marshall College, as saying, "Putin is certainly in a stronger position in Ukraine than he has been for over a year, having just taken over Avdiivka and with Ukraine floundering as its arms shipments slow down. His hold on power is stronger than ever, and its unraveling seems improbable, at least in the near to medium future." But last June's Prigozhin rebellion demonstrated how rapidly things might change in Putin's Russia. Yevgeny Prigozhin managed to take over a major military command center without firing a shot, and march with armed loyalists to within a couple hundred miles of Moscow, not the sort of state breakdown that could happen in a fully consolidated totalitarian regime, said William and Mary University of Virginia professor of government Stephen Hansen in an interview with Newsweek. Do not put too much stock in Vladimir Putin's ability to maintain power in the long run.